The ship named Harmony moved slowly through the darkness of space. Commander Tay stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. His dark eyes were fixed on the main screen. The stars looked like tiny dots of white paint on black canvas. "Are we at the meeting point yet?" Tay asked. Officer Min checked her screen. "Yes, sir. We are exactly where the aliens told us to be." This was a big day for humans. After years of sending messages into space, someone had finally answered. The aliens called themselves the Novel Confederation. They said they wanted to meet in peace. Tay felt both excited and worried. He was the first human commander to meet an alien race face to face. If he made a mistake, it could be bad for all humans. "Sir, I see something," said Officer Ju, pointing at his screen. "A ship is coming." Everyone on the bridge fell silent. The alien ship appeared on their main screen. It was 3 times bigger than the Harmony. It shined like silver and moved without making any noise. "They're sending us a message," said Ju. "They want to talk now." Tay nodded. "Put them on screen." The alien that appeared looked almost like a tall human, but with blue skin and 4 eyes. It wore something that looked like armor made of metal. "Greetings, humans," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Supreme Envoy Vrax of the Novel Confederation. We are pleased to meet the newest space-traveling species." Tay stepped forward. "I am Commander Tay of Earth. We are happy to meet you and hope this will be the start of friendship between our peoples." Vrax's 4 eyes blinked in a strange pattern. "Yes, friendship. We have much to talk about. Please come to our ship with your top officers. We have prepared a proper meeting room." Tay looked at his science officer, Jin. She gave a small nod. "We would be honored," Tay replied. 2 hours later, Tay sat at a large round table on the alien ship with Jin and his security chief, Do. 3 aliens sat across from them. The room was cold, and the lights were too bright for human eyes. "We have studied your transmissions for many years," Vrax said. "Your planet is very interesting. We hope to learn about your world too," Jin said with a smile. Vrax did not smile back. "Your kind fights many wars. Why?" Tay shifted in his seat. "Our history has dark parts, yes, but we have learned from our mistakes. We now work together as one Earth." "Fascinating," Vrax said, but his voice was flat. "Tell me, Commander Tay, what are your weapon systems like on the Harmony?" Du's hand moved closer to the gun at his side. Tay gave him a warning look. "The Harmony is mainly a science and diplomatic vessel," Tay said carefully. "We came to talk about culture and knowledge, not weapons." Vrax's eyes narrowed. "Of course, but among friends, there should be no secrets. For example, we would like the codes to your planet's defense systems, as a show of trust." The room became very quiet. Tay felt cold sweat on his back. "I'm sorry, but I don't have the authority to share such information," Tay said. "You don't trust us?" Vrax asked. His voice was suddenly hard. "Trust must be built over time," Jin said quickly. "This is only our first meeting." Vrax stood up. He was very tall, almost 7 feet. "I see. Humans talk about peace but hide behind walls. This meeting is over." Back on the Harmony, Tay felt uneasy. Something about the aliens didn't feel right. "They wanted our defense codes in the first meeting," Du said, shaking his head. "That's not normal diplomatic behavior." Jin was looking at her computer. "Their technology is far ahead of ours. Their ship could probably destroy us in seconds if they wanted to." Tay was about to speak when a loud alarm sounded. "Sir, officer," Min shouted. "Urgent message from Earth Command." Tay rushed to the communications station. The face of Admiral Bay appeared on screen. She looked worried. "Commander Tay, are you safe?" she asked. "Yes, Admiral. What's happening?" 3 of our colony outposts have been attacked at the same time. New Mars, Europa Station, and Ganymede Base. Thousands are dead. Tay felt his blood turn cold. "Attacked? By who?" "The ships match the description of your new alien friends," Admiral Bay said. "They sent a message before they attacked. They called house untrustworthy primitives who are too dangerous to join the galactic community." Jin gasped. Du slammed his fist on the console. Get back to Earth immediately, Admiral Bay ordered. We're preparing for war. The screen went dark. For a moment, nobody spoke. Sir, Officer Ju said in a shaky voice. The alien ship is moving. They're coming toward us with weapons ready. Tay took a deep breath. Full power to shields. Prepare. For jump to light speed. Jin touched his arm. Commander, I've been analyzing their ship during our visit. I found something important. This isn't the time, Jin, Tay said. It is the time, she insisted. Their weapons are powerful, but their shields have a pattern. There's a 3-second gap when they fire their main weapons. The shield drops just before they shoot. Tay looked at her with new interest. Are you sure? Jin nodded. I'm sure. Also, their computer systems don't have good security. They never expected anyone to try to hack them. They think we're just stupid primitives, Do said with anger in his voice. Tay turned to weapons control. Officer Han, target their main weapon ports. Wait for my command. The huge alien ship grew bigger on their screen. A voice came through the speakers. Foolish humans, Vrax said. You could have surrendered peacefully. Now you will learn your place in the universe. Tay smiled, but his eyes were cold. Fire when their shields drop. The Harmony shook as the alien ship fired its first shot. But at that exact moment, the Harmony fired too. Their smaller weapons hit exactly where Jin had suggested. The alien ship's lights flickered. Their next shot went wide. Again, Tay ordered. The Harmony fired a second time. A small explosion appeared on the side of the alien ship. Jump to light. Speed now, Tay shouted. The stars stretched into lines as the Harmony escaped. They had hurt a ship many times stronger than theirs. In the quiet that followed, Tay looked at his crew. Their faces showed fear, but also determination. They think we're weak, Tay said. They think we'll be easy to defeat. They're wrong, Jin said. Tay nodded. Send this message to Earth Command. The aliens have technological advantages, but they have weaknesses too. They don't understand humans. They don't know what we can do when we're threatened. He looked at the stars rushing past. They just declared war on the deadliest species in existence, Tay said, and they don't even know it yet. 3 months had passed since the first attack. Colonel Sun stood on a hill looking down at what was left of the main city on Horizon Colony. Half the buildings were broken. Smoke still rose from some parts. The aliens had attacked hard, but they hadn't won yet. Sun lifted her field glasses and watched the alien camp. The Novel forces had built perfect rows of shelters. Their machines moved in exact patterns. Everything they did was ordered and the same. They're so organized, said Captain Bach, who stood next to her. Sun nodded. Yes, and that's why we're still alive. She pointed to a map spread on a rock in front of them. They always attack at the same time each day. They always use the same paths. They never change their plans. Even when those plans don't work, Bach said with a small smile. The radio on. Sun's belt made a noise. She picked it up. Colonel, this is Lookout Team 3. The aliens are moving troops again, same as yesterday, same number, same path. Good, Sun said. Get ready. We know what to do. She turned to Bach. Tell our people to set the traps where we planned. The aliens will walk right into them, just like last time. Bach nodded and ran off. Sun looked at the alien camp again. The Novel had more soldiers, better guns, and bigger ships. But they couldn't understand how humans fought. They couldn't understand why the humans on Horizon wouldn't just give up. In the underground lab on Earth, Engineer Juan hadn't slept in 2 days. His eyes were red, and his hands shook a little as he worked on the alien device. 20 other engineers and scientists worked around him, all focused on their own tasks. The door opened, and Commander Tay walked in. He looked tired too. Everyone. Did these days? Any progress? Tay asked. Juan nodded. Yes, we finally understand how their communication system works. He pointed to a strange crystal in the middle of the device. This isn't just technology, it's partly alive. The Novel use a kind of crystal that can think in a simple way. All their ships and weapons connect through these crystals. Can we use this? Tay asked. Yes, Juan said with excitement in his voice. The best part is they never made these crystals secure. They never thought anyone else could understand how they work, so they didn't protect them. They didn't think we were smart enough, Tay said. Exactly. We can send signals that the crystals will accept. We can trick their weapons, their ships, maybe even their whole network. Juan couldn't hide his smile. We can make their technology work for us. Tay put a hand on Juan's shoulder. How soon can we use this? Give me 1 more week, Juan said. Then we can start fighting back for real. On the Novel command ship, Supreme War Leader Draz was angry. He slammed his fist on the table, making the other officers jump. How is this possible? He shouted. It has been 3 months. 3 months, and these primitives still fight back. One of the officers spoke carefully. Sir, the humans don't fight like normal enemies. They hide, then attack, then hide again. They change their plans all the time. Each group fights differently. They should have surrendered by now, Draz said. Every other species we've conquered gave up within weeks. The humans are unusual, another officer said. They seem to get stronger when we push them harder. Draz walked to the big window and looked out at the stars. Send a message to the human leaders. Tell them they have 1 day to surrender. After that, we will destroy their colonies one by one until they understand who is in charge. Colonel Sun was covered in dirt and blood as she helped pull a wounded soldier to safety. The fight had been hard, but her troops had beaten back another alien attack. The Novel had lost many soldiers and machines. A young communication officer ran up to her. Colonel, urgent message from the aliens, for all human leaders. Sun took the tablet and read the message. The aliens were demanding that all humans surrender, within 1 day or they would start destroying entire colonies. She handed the tablet back. Send a reply. What should I say, Colonel? The officer asked. Sun looked at the tired but determined faces of her soldiers. Tell them, humanity doesn't know how to surrender, but we're quite good at surviving, and even better at winning. On Earth, the war room was filled with military leaders from all over the world. They had been enemies once, but not anymore. Now, they all fought together. Admiral Kang stood at the front of the room. On the big screen behind him was a map of human space and Novel positions. The aliens think they're about to win, Kang said. They don't understand why we keep fighting. In their culture, the weaker side always gives up. But that's not what humans do, said General Wu. No, it's not, Kang agreed. And now we have something they don't expect. He nodded to Engineer Juan, who stepped forward. We can now hack into their communication network, Juan explained. We can confuse their ships, give wrong information to their troops, maybe even shut down their weapons. When do we start? Someone asked. Right now, Kang said. We've formed the United Earth Fleet, every ship we have working together. We're going to hit them in a way they can't imagine. What way is that? Wu asked. Every way at once, Kang said. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We've learned a few things in that time. The next day, the Novel prepared to destroy their first human colony as they had promised. Their biggest battleship moved into position above horizon. On the bridge, War Captain Krell watched the planet below. Begin the attack sequence, he ordered. Show these humans what happens when they defy the Novel Confederation. Yes, sir, said his weapons officer. Firing main. Suddenly, all the lights on the bridge changed to red. The ship's engines stopped. On every screen, the same message appeared, written in the Novel language. Attention, Novel forces. You have just declared war on the deadliest species in existence. Reconsider. What is this? Krell shouted. How are they in our systems? Before anyone could answer, alarms started ringing. Small human ships appeared from behind Horizon's moon. They were everywhere at once, attacking from all sides. Shields up, Krell ordered. Shields not responding, sir, his officer cried. The human ships fired together. Their weapons weren't as strong as the Novels, but there were many of them, and they hit all the weak spots. In the confusion, Krell didn't notice another message on his screen. This is just the beginning. The war entered its second year. Human ships now moved freely through much of their own space. The Novel Confederation had lost many battles, but they were not defeated yet. Captain Moon checked his team's equipment one last time. The 6 people. With him were the best soldiers Earth had. They were about to do something no human had ever done: sneak onto the Novel home world. "Remember," Moon said quietly, "this is just a scouting mission. We get in, gather information, and get out. No fighting unless we have no choice." Sergeant Go, the team's combat expert, nodded. "The stealth suits should keep us invisible to their sensors. As long as no one bumps into us, we'll be fine." "Their security might be different on their home planet," Lieutenant Day warned. She was their tech specialist. "We don't know what to expect." Moon looked at each team member. "That's why we're going. To learn about them. To find a way to end this war." Their small ship, disguised to look like a Novel supply vessel, moved slowly toward the planet called Novikar Prime. This was the heart of the enemy's empire, a place no human had seen before. On Earth, Dr. Lee bent over her microscope. She had been studying Novel biology for months, using samples from dead aliens found after battles. Now she finally understood something important. She rushed to the communication room where Commander Tay was talking with other leaders. "I need to speak with you," Lee said. "It's urgent." Tay excused himself and followed Lee to her lab. She showed him slides of Novel tissue samples. "Look at these," she said, pointing to strange cells. "The Novel aren't just culturally hierarchical. It's in their biology." "What do you mean?" Tay asked. "The ruling caste, the ones who lead their society, have special glands that produce chemicals. These chemicals affect the brains of the lower castes, making them loyal and obedient." Lee's eyes were bright with excitement. "The lower castes are literally programmed to follow orders without question." Tay thought about this. "So their entire society is built on biological control? The leaders keep everyone else as basically slaves?" "Yes," Lee said. "And that's why they can't understand us. Free will, independence, questioning authority. These ideas are completely foreign to most Noval." "This could be very useful," Tay said, "if we could somehow block these chemicals." "Exactly," Lee nodded. "Or if we could tell the lower castes the truth about how they're being controlled." On Novikar Prime, Moon's team moved carefully through a vast city. Everything was built in perfect geometric patterns. The buildings were all the same height and shape. The streets ran in straight lines. Even the parks had plants arranged in exact rows. They watched the Noval going about their lives. The ruling caste was easy to spot. They had darker blue skin and wore elaborate clothing. The lower castes wore simple uniforms and always moved aside when a ruler approached. "It's like they're robots," Go whispered as they hid in an alley. "No, not robots," Day said. "More like worker bees serving their queen." Moon led them toward a large building in the center of the city. Their intel suggested it was some kind of government center. Inside, they found rows of Novel working at stations. None of them talked or looked up from their work. In the middle of the room was a raised platform where several ruling caste Novel sat. "Look at the air vents," Day whispered, pointing. "I think they're pumping something into the room." Moon used a small device to take an air sample. "We'll have Dr. Lee analyze this later." They continued deeper into the building, recording everything they saw. Finally, they reached a secure area with guards. "This must be important," Moon said. "We need to see what's inside." Day used her tech skills to create a distraction in another part of the building. When the guards ran to check it, the team slipped inside the secure room. What they found shocked them. The room was filled with screens showing different planets. Some showed battles with humans. Others showed alien races Moon didn't recognize. On each screen, a number showed how many people had died. "These aren't military reports," Day said in horror. "These are entertainment. They're watching people die for fun." Moon felt sick. The ruling caste doesn't just control their own people. They see all other species as toys for their amusement. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. We've been detected, Go said. We need to move now. As they turned to leave, they saw a small novel watching them from a doorway. It was clearly from a lower caste with lighter skin and no fancy clothes. It will alert the guards, Go said, raising his weapon. Wait, Moon ordered. He looked at the small alien. Can you understand me? The novel's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Yes, it said in a quiet voice. You are human. We don't want to hurt any of you, Moon said. We just want the war to end. War, the novel repeated. The rulers say you are dangerous animals who must be destroyed. That's not true, Moon said. We only fight because you attacked us first. The alien seemed confused. The rulers never lie. It stopped suddenly, staring at the screen showing the death counts. Is this true? It asked. Do our leaders enjoy watching death? Yes, Moon said simply. And they keep your people, the lower castes, under control with chemicals. You don't have to obey them. The small novel's whole body trembled. I need to think about this. More alarms sounded, closer now. We have to go. Go urged. Moon took a risk. He handed the small novel a data device. This has information about how the ruling caste controls your people. Share it if you're brave enough. Then the team activated their stealth suits and hurried away. They almost made it back to their ship. Almost. A patrol of Novel soldiers caught them just outside the spaceport. Even with their stealth suits, the Novel had some way to detect them that humans didn't know about yet. Surrender now, the patrol leader ordered, weapons pointed at Moon's team. Moon looked at his people. They were good, but there were too many Novel to fight. Lower your weapons, he told his team. As the Novel moved to capture them, something unexpected happened. A group of smaller Novel, lower caste workers, appeared from nearby buildings. They looked at the human team, then at the Novel soldiers. Then, to everyone's surprise, the workers moved to stand between the soldiers and the humans. Move aside, the patrol leader ordered. These are enemy spies. They are visitors, one of the workers said. We want to hear what they have to say. The patrol leader seemed shocked. You dare to question orders? This is treason. Is it treason to seek truth? Another worker asked. More lower caste Novel were gathering. The data Moon had given to the small alien must have spread quickly. The patrol leader raised his weapon. Step aside now, or... He never finished his sentence. One of his own soldiers, another lower caste Novel, turned and struck him down. In the confusion that followed, Moon's team slipped away. They made it to their ship and took off, barely escaping the planet's defenses. As they flew away, Moon looked back at the Novel homeworld. I think we just started something big, he said. Something the ruling caste never expected. What's that? Go asked. A revolution, Moon replied. 1 year had passed since the day that could have brought war to 3 species. Ha-Jin stood on the observation deck of a new space station. It hung in orbit around the moon of Jupiter where New Hope Colony had once stood. The station was called, Memory. It was built by humans, Garam, and even some Daesong. It was a place of peace. Hard to believe it's been a year, Jisoo said, standing beside Ha-Jin. She wore a formal uniform with new badges on it. One showed the Earth symbol. The other showed 3 hands of different shapes reaching toward each other. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, Ha-Jin said. Other times it feels like a lifetime ago. Through the wide window they could see ships arriving, human ships, Garam ships, and one silver leaf-shaped ship that could only be Daesong. They're all coming, Jisoo said with wonder in her voice. Just like you hoped. Ha-Jin smiled slightly. Not me alone. It took all of us to make this happen. Ha-Jin's mind went back to that day a year ago. 3 fleets had faced each other in space. Human, Garam, and Daesong. All ready for war. The Earth ships had arrived first, ready to attack the Garam. Ha-Jin had to convince them to wait, to give his plan a chance. The Earth fleet commander had not been happy. "This is not your decision to make, Captain Hajin," the commander had said. "Sir, with respect, I'm the only one who has talked to both sides," Hajin had replied. "The Garam are desperate, not evil, and the Daesong are coming to destroy us all if we fight each other." In the end, the commander had given Hajin 6 hours to find a peaceful solution. 6 hours to save 3 species from war. Hajin, Sungho, and Taiho had worked together. They had talked to the Garam fleet leader, explaining the Daesong threat. Then they had contacted the Daesong fleet. The Daesong High Commander had been angry that Taiho had warned the humans. But Taiho had spoken with new confidence. "I have observed these species for months," Taiho had told his leader. "They are not the danger we feared. They are different from us, yes, more emotional, but also capable of great wisdom and mercy." The Daesong leader had not been convinced. "They fight wars," he had said. "They kill each other." "Yes," Taiho had agreed, "but they also forgive. They help their enemies. They honor the customs of those who would destroy them. Is this not also a kind of civilization?" In the end, it was not words that changed minds. It was actions. Hajin had offered to give the Garam the metal they needed, freely with no conditions. This shocked both the Garam and the Daesong. No species had ever helped the Garam before. The Garam fleet leader had been suspicious. "Why would you do this?" he had asked. "Because it's the right thing to do," Hajin had said simply. "And because we understand what it means to lose your history." Now, a year later, representatives from all 3 species gathered on the memory station. They came to remember those who had died at New Hope Colony, both human and Garam. Hajin walked to the center of the large meeting room. A round black monument stood there. On it were names written in 3 languages: human, Garam, and Daesong. "Welcome to the first ceremony of remembrance," Hajin said to the gathered crowd. "Today we honor those who died here, not as enemies but as people whose lives mattered." Sungho stepped forward. He looked healthier now, his gray skin shining. He wore special clothes that showed his importance among the Garam. "1 year ago my people came here to take," Sungho said in halting human language. He had learned to speak it over the past year. "We thought only of our need, not of the lives we would hurt. Today we remember those we killed. We say their names so they will not be forgotten." Sungho began to read the human names carved on the monument. As he spoke each name, a family member or friend of that person stood up. Some cried. Some stood tall and proud, but all listened as their loved ones' names were spoken by the very species that had taken them away. When Sungho finished, Hajin stepped forward again. "Now we remember the Garam who died here," he said. He began to read the Garam names. As each Garam name was spoken, members of their family line stood. They had come from the Garam fleet to honor their dead. They watched with their 4 eyes as a human spoke the sacred names of their fallen. When all names had been spoken, Taiho came forward. He wore the formal robes of a Daesong diplomat. "My people did not lose anyone in this conflict," Taiho said. "But we almost made a terrible mistake. We judged these species as uncivilized because they felt deeply, because they fought, because they were different from us. We did not see that there are many kinds of civilization." Taiho looked at Hajin. "The humans taught us that mourning your enemies is not weakness. It is strength. It shows that you value all life, not just your own. This is true civilization." After the ceremony, Hajin, Jisoo, Sungho, and Taiho stood together on the observation deck. Below them was the moon where so many had died. "The trade agreement is working well," Sungho said. "My people have enough of the special metal now. Our memory banks are safe. And the Garam have stopped raiding human colonies," Jisoo added. "The Daesong High Command has changed their view of both your species," Taiho said. "They now classify humans and Garam as developing civilizations with unique cultural value." Hajin smiled. "That's a big step up from dangerous and uncivilized." "Indeed," Taiho agreed. "And I have been assigned as permanent ambassador to Earth. The High Command believes I have unique insight into human nature." You were the first to see us clearly, Hajin said. Not just our flaws, but our strengths too. Taiho made the small movement that was his version of a smile. I simply observed without prejudice. Eventually, young crew member approached them. Captain, it's time. Hajin nodded. Thank you. He turned to the others. Shall we? They went to a small airlock. Through the window they could see space. The stars shone brightly. In Hajin's hands was a small box. Inside were lights, one for each person who had died at New Hope Colony, human and Garam. In human tradition, we light candles for those who have passed, Hajin explained. In Garam tradition, you speak the names of the dead so they live on in memory. And in Daisong tradition, Jisoo asked Taeho. We record everything, Taeho said, but we have no ceremony for the dead. Perhaps we should learn one. Hajin opened the box. The lights floated out, small bright dots against the darkness of space. As each light left the box, Sung-ho spoke a name, first in Garam language, then in human. When the last light had floated away, they stood in silence, watching the lights drift among the stars. They will not be forgotten, Sung-ho said softly. No, Hajin agreed. They will live on in our memories, and in what we build, together. Jisoo looked at the three of them, human, Garam, and Daesong, standing side by side in peace. A year ago we were enemies, she said, or strangers. Now look at us. Taiho's large eyes watched the lights floating in space. I once thought your emotions made you weak, he said. Now I see they are your greatest strength. You feel pain at the loss of even your enemies, and that pain drives you to find better ways. Hajin put a hand on Taiho's shoulder. The Daesong no longer stiffened at human touch. That's what it means to be civilized, Hajin said. Not to be perfect, not to be without conflict, but to see the value in all life, to mourn even those who fought against you, to remember that in another time, in another place, we might have been friends. As they stood together, watching the memorial lights drift among the stars, three very different species found a moment of perfect understanding. Their paths forward would not always be easy. There would be mistakes, misunderstandings, perhaps even conflicts, but they would face them together. And they would remember what they had learned here, that true civilization begins when you can mourn even your enemies. The end. News spread quickly through human space. Captain Moon's team had returned with valuable information about the novel home world. But even more important was what happened after they left. The lower castes of the noble society were rebelling against their rulers. For the first time in their history, they were asking questions, demanding answers. In the main meeting room on Earth, leaders from all human colonies gathered. On large screens, representatives from the Coalition of Free Species, aliens, who had joined humanity's cause, watched and listened. Diplomat Park stood before them all. He had been chosen to lead the final peace effort. The novel ruling caste has requested peace talks, Park announced. Their message came 3 hours ago. They want to meet at the neutral space station called Convergence. It's a trap, someone said. Admiral Kang shook his head. I don't think so. Our latest intelligence shows their empire is falling apart from within. The ruling caste has lost control of 5 major planets already. Dr. Lee stepped forward. The chemical control they used on the lower castes is breaking down. We released a special signal through their communication network that disrupts the effect. The more the lower castes learn about how they've been controlled, the more they resist. Park nodded. This is our chance to end the war. Not just with fighting, but with understanding. What do you mean? Commander Tay asked. The noble aren't evil, Park said. They're different from us. Their society evolved in a way that made sense for their survival. But now they need to change, and we can help them. After all they've done to us, someone objected. After all the people they've killed? Yes, Park said firmly. Because that's what makes humans different. We can choose to break cycles of violence. We can choose to help even those who hurt us if it leads to a better future for all. After much debate, the gathered leaders agreed. Park would lead a delegation to meet with the Novel. They would seek real peace, not just a pause in fighting. Space. Station Convergence hung in the darkness between stars. It was an old station, built by a species that had disappeared long ago. Now it served as neutral ground for many different aliens. Park led his team through the station's main door. With him were Commander Tay, Dr. Lee, Engineer Juan, and representatives from the coalition species. They walked to a large round room in the center of the station. The Novel were already there. At their head was a tall, dark blue-skinned alien with elaborate clothing and jewelry. This was Archon Krell, the supreme leader of what remained of the Novel Confederation. "Welcome, humans," Krell said, but his voice was cold. "Let us complete this unpleasant business quickly." Park bowed slightly. "We are here to find a path to lasting peace, Archon Krell. That may take time." "What it will take," Krell said sharply, "is for you to state your demands for our surrender. We know when we are beaten." Park looked at the other Novel with Krell. Most were ruling caste, but a few were from lower castes. These looked around with curious eyes, taking in everything. They had never been allowed in such important meetings before. "We don't seek your surrender," Park said, surprising the Novel. "We seek understanding between our peoples." "Understanding," Krell repeated as if he didn't know the word. "You have destroyed our fleets, turned our subjects against us, and now you speak of understanding?" "Yes," Park said simply, "because fighting is easy. Understanding is hard. But it's the only way forward." For the next several hours they talked. Dr. Lee explained what she had learned about Novel biology and society. The lower caste Novel listened with great interest. Even some of the ruling caste seemed thoughtful. "Your species excels at order and unity," Park explained. "Ours thrives on chaos and adaptation. Both have value, both have power. Together, we could achieve things neither could alone." "You suggest cooperation?" Krell asked. "After war?" "Yes," Park said. "Humans have fought each other for most of our history. But we've learned that after fighting must come rebuilding together." A lower caste Novel named Vel spoke up. "The old way is ending. But we don't know what comes next. Our biology still pushes us toward hierarchy, toward order. And that's okay," Dr. Lee said gently. "You don't need to become like humans. You need to become a better version of yourselves, one where the natural order serves everyone, not just the ruling caste." Slowly, hour by hour, a new kind of peace took shape. 5 years passed. On Earth, Admiral Tay, no longer commander, stood in the new Space Control Center. Beside him was Vel, now the representative of the reformed Novel Alliance. On the main screen, they watched a ship leave Earth orbit. It was the Second Chance, the first joint human-Novel research vessel. Its mission was to explore deep space, to find new worlds and new species. "I still don't fully understand how your species prevailed," Vel said. He had become a friend over the years, though he still sometimes struggled with the concept of friendship. Tay smiled. "That's exactly why we did." "Explain, please," Vel said. "The deadliest predator isn't the strongest or the fastest," Tay said. "It's the one that never stops learning, never stops adapting, and never ever gives up." Vel considered this. "But you did not destroy us when you could have. Many of your people wanted to. That's the other part of what makes humans special," Tay said. "We can choose. We can rise above our instincts, our anger, our desire for revenge. We can choose a better path even when it's difficult." They watched as the Second Chance activated its engines and disappeared into the depths of space. "What do you think they'll find out there?" Vel asked. "I don't know," Tay admitted. "But I know they'll face it together. And that makes all the difference." Throughout the galaxy, word spread among the stars. A new understanding had emerged from the ashes of war. The rigid order of the Novel, combined with the endless adaptability of humans, had created something powerful. The message passed from world to world, From species to species, if you value your existence, never threaten Earth. You might just find yourself at war with the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because they were born that way, but because they chose to become whatever they needed to be to survive. But there was a second message too. If you seek allies who will stand by you to the end, who will fight for you when all seems lost, who will help you build something better after the fighting stops, look to the humans. For they are as skilled at making peace as they are at making war, and in the vastness of space both messages were heard. The end.